In many ways, creating is its own reward. You spend hundreds of hours toiling away, smacking your head against the wall, and drinking espresso until the right hemisphere of your brain has activated and you spew out a bunch of crap out of nothing. It takes a lot of work, a lot of sweat, a lot of blood, a lot of stardust, and a lot of hours in the day, but eventually the work is done, and you have created something special. There's one problem though. One big problem.
Oh, I'd love to get these actors for my show. Ooh, and if I could have these lights and this soundboard, and if I could get this designer, and I would love this equipment. And what about this set? And I cannot forget the props. Okay, once I have this, the show will finally be as I envisioned it.
As you say, miss, that'll be $600,000.
But what? I live off an artist budget.
Yes, the horrors of living as an artist in a capitalistic society make themselves known at every opportunity. It doesn't matter what wonders you dream or what worlds you create. All that means diddly put sploosh in the eyes of modern society.
Look, I make plays. I give tours. I move across the country searching for jobs. Why isn't that enough? Why?
Perhaps you should consult a career consultant. That'll be $50,000.
But I have a career. Creating is what I do.
You should be an engineer or a doctor. Those pay well. That'll be $100,000 to get an engineering degree, or $200,000 to complete medical school.
Are you kidding me? I don't have that kind of money. I'm still trying to save up so I can live in a slightly bigger closet.
You should get homeowner's insurance. That'll be $70,000.
Can I take out a loan?
That'll be $50,000 in loan interest.
Oh my god.
Creators have visions. We provide joy and laughter, heartbreak and reflection, meaning and purpose, all to the common folks' lives with our work. We work our collective butts off, adding to the mosaic that is the tapestry of modern art. And how are we rewarded for it? A pat on the back and a harsh reminder of the actual priorities of our society.
We don't dislike your creative work. We find it very precious and adorable, actually. But we value more laborious jobs that pay slightly better, but still not nearly enough, while giving more giant bonuses to CEOs, of course.
Oh, do you think we are a bunch of ants? Art is what makes us human. We must cherish that. We must nurture our creative spirits that will lift our souls, especially in these harsh times.
Spouting philosophical hogwash. That'll be a $2,000 fine.
Oh, come on.
Living off an artist's budget. It's a struggle every creative soul understands. But we must press on. We must endure. Even if we have to get several other day jobs in order to pay the bills, we will still create. No matter how much others may try, you can never cease the output of a creative mind. So endure, creators! Endure!
You just gave an inspirational speech on this property. That'll cost you $5,000.
Oh my god, really? Freaking kill me already!
Oh, amen.
Oh, that was fun. A lot of editing, dude, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we're still...
If you...
Yes, okay.
Alright.
Just wanted to make sure we recorded all that.
Yeah. Absolutely none of that recorded.
Okay. Welcome, fellow nerds, to another episode of the Writ, the show where we use the loophole of talking about writing rather than writing to allow guest hosts to talk about all kinds of creative work. In this instance, stage management.
Hey.
And for this, it is my honor to introduce Miss Laura Owsley. Got it. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm Laura. Thanks for
Hello.
having me on.
Of course.
I like how you said hello as though. All right. So as Matt said, I'm a stage manager. I work professionally. I'm doing theater and theatery things.
Theatery things.
Theatery things. All the theatery.
The best things.
The best things in life are
Theatery things. Listen to that song coming up next on your stage production. The best things are literary things. Not literary, but whatever.
Wrong side of creativity.
Yeah, that's my side. You have your side, I have my side. We have this line in between us, and neither of us can cross it.
No. It's a hard, fast rule.
Babysitter's rules, right?
Exactly. Oh, speaking of day jobs.
Yeah, you've actually got quite a few. You're also a dog sitter?
Yeah, so I have at any given point in time around 5 jobs.
Nice.
So my main job in my career is theater.
Right.
I do primarily stage management, but a little bit of everything.
Right.
Currently in the Denver area.
Nice. And who knows how long that'll last. I wanted to get you while you could.
Exactly.
Well, I could.
Well, we'll see what happens.
But yeah, so this is welcome to the Writ podcast. You've listened to a few episodes so far. I'm glad you have you. I knew when we first met. I knew that I'd like you because you like podcasts. So
exactly.
So I'm like, finally, I can introduce her to my dumb stuff. So.
And then you watched all of my dumb vlogs that I did for a month.
I have. Yep. That's. We take interest in each other's work sometimes. Sometimes, maybe.
What is friendship if not?
If not sacrificing a little bit of time just to listen to someone else's dumb stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, so normally we have 2 segments of the show. I guess sometimes we split them up into different weeks, ever since we've done weekly. But today we're going to have What Will We Rip Off From this month, and forget the What We Have Writ, because who has time for that? So, we'll start with What Will We Rip Off From this month. And since you are the guest, you get to go first.
Alright, so we were talking beforehand, and I realized that one big thing for me is motivation can be hard to keep up.
Right.
Especially with, as the skit talks about, of we put in so much of our hearts and souls, and our energies into our creative works for not very much money, which means that we have to pull day jobs to actually make our ends meet.
Exactly.
Etc., etc. So I know there was one point that I was really frustrated that essentially a show that I did not realize I would be working ended up needing a stage manager last minute. I was driving. It was about 30 minutes south of town.
Right.
I was driving. I was not in a great mood, but I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts.
Yes.
And
the Writ, obviously. No, I'm just
Obviously. This is...
Well, what about your second favorite podcast?
My second favorite, of course. No, I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, and I was driving, and there's a line, and to be fair, the character says this in the show to be manipulative.
Okay.
But it's a line that I took to heart of, when did you first know you wanted to go to space?
Huh.
Which, for me, I just kind of had a moment of, I started theater in the 3rd grade.
Really?
I remember auditioning for a play. I remember going up there. I had one monologue. I was on stage for a grand total of 1.5 minutes.
Nice.
I had short hair, so of course I was playing a boy.
Nice.
Yes.
Good. As it is, unfortunately.
I mean, that's how theater works when you're in school.
And I guess there's a lot more girls going to theater than boys, but a lot of productions often have more boy characters, so like, how do we make this work?
That's always the joys of educational theater, and sometimes professional theater to a lesser extent.
Yeah, next up, we're going to do with this all-girls school. How about Newsies?
Newsies, there we go.
I'm trying to think of another one that's mostly boys.
I'm blanking on every... We're doing this... I was going to say Scottsboro Boys, but maybe not that one.
I mean, Jersey Boys.
Jersey Boys, there we go.
I mean, boys is in the title, so...
But I just remember listening to that line, when did you know you wanted to go to space? And it made me remember of, like, I've wanted to do theater since the 3rd grade.
Right.
And the fact that I'm doing theater professionally...
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's cool when you can look at your dreams you had as a kid and actually try to be able to fulfill them. Like, I've known that I wanted to be a writer since I was like 6. Like,
exactly.
So...
Yeah, and I'm sure you feel similarly about your book.
Yeah, no, this book is something that's been a long time coming for me, so...
Yeah.
So it's really cool. When did I don't know. I guess on another note, I never want to go to space. It's too scary. I'd be so afraid. But someday, knowing us, we're probably going to have to evacuate the Earth because we've ruined it too much and move somewhere else.
I mean, I am totally down to live on Mars.
I guess.
I will live on Mars. I will not live under the sea.
I will live on Mars if by that point there's been millions of other people who also live on Mars and have shown that it is safe and there is stuff to do here that's like that you can live normally as you would.
Right. So in order to do this, you would need to cryogenically freeze your brain, like Walt Disney, right?
Right, exactly. He's gonna live on Mars. He'll be the first one.
Of course.
Or one of the first ones, anyways.
Walt Disney will be the first one to live on Mars. You heard it here first.
Hot take, or my big theory, I guess. Anyway.
What about you? What are you ripping off this month?
Well, and I guess this is really much to rip off. I just thought this was something funny that I was thinking about. So, the Joker came out. By the time this episode comes out, it's come out like almost 2 months ago. But we're recording this pretty early, guys. Actually, I'm recording 4 more episodes of the Writ tonight, and those come first. So, I don't know. This order.
We had to record before I left for a week. So
yes, exactly. So, 2 months ago, the Joker came out. The talk of the town. I mean, by this point, Frozen 2 has come out, I think. So that's now the talk of the town.
Oh, shoot.
So, we just saw it. It was great. Well, we haven't seen it because it's not out yet. But
yeah, it was amazing. All the people in Frozen 2 and the characters.
I particularly loved that song, Still Letting It Go.
Yes, I really liked how they made an R&B remix.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes. Anyways, no. So Joker. So I actually haven't seen it, so I really shouldn't have an opinion on it. But I have listened to a lot of different podcasts from people who have seen it, and a lot of them say it's pretty good. But one thing that's pretty common that I've noticed: this movie seems to really attract a certain demographic.
Yes, I would say so.
Like, the movie's good on its own, I've heard, but like, there's people who think it's really, really, really good, and they're like these people that are like these 15-year-old edgelords who think they're so grown up and cool. And anyone who doesn't give this movie a 10 out of 10 just doesn't understand film.
They just don't understand the character of the Joker.
Yeah, and how the Joker's so cool. He's holding a mirror to society.
Nobody's ever done this in film before.
It's not even Martin Scorsese, even though, like, the king of comedy, which his movie is based off of, I've heard. I haven't seen that either. But
Homework.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. I mean, I don't want to do that much homework for a movie I don't care to see.
That's valid.
I don't know. I prefer. I mean, I think you've said that you're not really a big superhero movie person.
I have to say I'm not.
That's okay. It's not really for everyone, but I don't know. I like it when my superhero movies like embrace the comic bookness of it, like having like this Infinity War where Thanos, uses the Infinity Gems to do all this crazy crap, and like people fire at him with laser beams and magic and like all that stuff, and it's like it looks like something straight out of a comic book, and it's great. This is like, I think this movie's like ashamed. It seems like it's ashamed of being a comic book movie, and I don't know. It's like I'm beyond this.
Oh, that's always a pitfall, at least for me with these kinds of things.
Right.
You can't take yourself too seriously if
right.
you have people in spandex running around solving crimes.
Right, and to be fair, this movie, I've heard there's not a lot of spandex in it. It's more like, it's just like this one guy's struggle and like, I don't know, like, it seems like these people, most of the podcasts I listen to, they acknowledge that this particular demographic that really likes it, and there's all these hateful comments like, you guys just don't understand it, even if they said, oh, we liked it, we didn't love it. It's like, no, you gotta love it.
Oh, of course.
All these critics who gave a slightly more critical score of it are just paid off by Disney. but we know the truth. We're so above the conspiracy. We see the brilliance in this movie because we're so brilliant.
Oh yeah, and all of this is on the Reddit thread and
the 4chan,
the 4chans, and
the 8chans, the 12chans. I don't know if there's a 12chan or even an 8chan. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there's a Foursquare chan.
So that's 16chan?
Sure.
Okay. So, but I don't know. I just think that like that's funny. I just think it's funny when a work like really attracts that kind of audience. Like I guess what I'm ripping off from it is not making sure that I don't do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like if people like it that are like that, I guess that's fine. I just don't want it to. I just think it's kind of weird when people get so passionate about it in that way. It just it tarnishes other people's opinion on the movie as a whole. I think the Joker, it's getting a lot of praise, but I think in a couple years it'll get like a lot of people looking back on like kind of embarrassed to like it because of these people. And like the movie, even if the movie's good, it shouldn't have to deal with that. I don't know. So.
Well, that's always interesting to me when artists look at their work and go, wow, people are taking this from it, and I really
Right.
did not expect that.
I'm really afraid what people are going to take from my dinosaur with laser gun story. Like, this is actually an allegory for...
This is actually an allegory for Dr. Evil's sharks with freaking laser beams.
I mean, pretty
That
obviously, yes.
was my best, Dr. Evil. You are welcome.
Sharks with freaking lasers attached. I haven't seen that movie either. I need to watch all these movies.
That hurt my childhood.
I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. So this week on the Writ, we're talking kind of off the cuff. We didn't really leave a lot of notes here, but that's okay. I think we don't need to. I thought we play off each other enough, and I think you have a lot of knowledge like at hand that I thought we didn't really need to. So
Sure, yeah.
So theater management.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yes, tell us about it. Start at the beginning. No, actually, no. I guess
Well, I was born.
Yeah.
It was a warm day. No, I'm kidding.
Was it a warm day? Hold on, let's check. No, I'm just kidding.
Alright, let's check out July.
Theater records. Oh wait, you're born in July?
Yeah.
I was born July too. Yeah.
Hey, Leo's for the win.
Actually, I'm Cancer.
Ugh, how dare you. Alright.
Anyway, so yeah, what is it? What is you working on right now? I guess might be a good thing to start
Sure.
with.
So by the time this comes out, will be almost going into tech for A Christmas Carol.
Nice.
Which I'm really looking forward to this because I grew up with 1,000 different versions of Christmas Carol.
Right.
As I'm sure everybody has.
It's one of the more adapted stories, yes.
Exactly. And I don't love seeing the big, we're gonna have a 20-minute dance number with the Fezziwigs, and
Nice.
we're gonna be,
So is yours like just a 10-minute Christmas Carol? It just gets the basics down?
It's gonna be actually all one take, 1 90-minute take.
Whoa!
I know. So no intermission.
Sorry, guys, by the way, I should clarify, there's a dog here scratching.
There is a dog here, which is the only reason why I agreed to come.
Yeah, no, that's good. I thought I could use that as bait.
Right.
Anyways.
Much like... that was... Never mind.
Moving on!
Moving on!
Alright, sorry, what were you going to say?
But I'm very excited to be working on this. So one thing with theater management is that it's about a 50-50 shot. I know I've been asked in an interview before whether or not I consider stage management creative or not.
Right.
And I think it's interesting that it's such a bridge between the technical and the creative.
Right, which I thought we could provide some valuable insight for this podcast in that way.
Yeah. So like a lot of what I do in the rehearsal room is like writing down what the actors are doing and taking notes and communicating like, hey, the director has the actors climbing and doing a dance number on top of this table. And I'm going and talking to the set designers and saying, can this table handle a full tap routine?
Right.
Kind of idea. But then what really gets creative, for me at least, is the calling of the show element.
Right.
So calling the show is where I get the script and I'm dictating where all the lights and the sound cues are going to go.
Right. That could be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, for the most part, I'm given, call this after this line or after this word kind of idea.
Right.
And sometimes it is very much on the K of Cancer.
Okay. Like me.
Like you. On the T of Mats. Is where I call this cue. But what my favorites are is when it's I have to call this cue, but you feel it in the show and like, okay, I hit the lights now for the desired effect.
Right.
One of my favorite cues to call was a lighting element where it brought down lights on one half of the stage and up lights on another half of the stage for a scene transition.
Right.
And it wasn't it was just such a powerful moment in the show because we just finished a very emotional scene and we're going to a different scene and it's just seeing that transition go.
Right.
And to know that where you're calling it more or less can really affect the show and can affect the mood of the show.
Right.
And so
that's really cool. No, there's all those little things that affect the mood of the show that, like, I don't think a lot of people really even realize. Like,
Absolutely.
Like lighting is a big one. I mean, I guess some of that's pretty obvious. If you have like the lights suddenly turn deep red, clearly something's going on, something dramatic. But I don't know.
No, definitely. And one thing I love about theater is that it's temporary.
Right.
That, you might have had your best performance yet. Mm-hmm. The actors were on fire. You called the show perfectly. Everything was amazing. The audience was into it. It was a gorgeous night.
Right.
And it doesn't matter because tomorrow night will be completely different.
Right. You never know with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have a night that nothing's quite right.
Right.
An actor misses an entrance. Something goes on too late. This happens. But oh well.
Right. This is actually why I get kind of conscious about these things, and I feel bad. So I try to avoid seeing a play twice because I feel like that if I see it twice and I know the play well enough, I'll be able to catch when something's different. I'm like, oh no, was that like? Was that on purpose? Was that a mistake? Like if I can see people stutter. So if I see it the first time and they do make a mistake, I'm less likely to notice because I'm like, oh, I guess it's just part of the show, right?
Right.
So
I know this is a little bit. Maybe not controversial, but for me, I'm a big believer. I've only directed a few things, but I'm a big believer, and I don't want to be there every single night.
Right.
If I don't, like, I just want to see opening night. Maybe I'll catch another.
Right.
I have not done much professional directing. I've not done any directing outside of college.
Right.
But I'm kind of in the mode of, you know what? The stage manager has the show.
Right. So I guess a question in that regard that I have for you is like, what's the difference between a stage manager, and a director then?
Sure. So the director is the one with the vision. So the director is the one coming in and saying, we're going to do A Christmas Carol, and it's going to be a 90-minute show with no intermission.
Okay.
For example.
Right.
A very specific example, obviously. The director's the one who's coming in with the vision. I like to think of stage management as the right-hand man to the director who's going to execute this vision more clearly.
Okay, so kind of like a producer in a movie?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like the director's like, this is what I want to do, and the producer's like, okay, this is how I'm going to get it for you, get those resources for you. So
I like to think of it as I speak director. So a director goes, I want this and this and this, and I go, okay, well that means that in order to get this has to happen first.
Okay, so I guess in that skit that I wrote, that would be more like if you were the director with all that this and this.
A little bit of both.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad I got some things were accurate, right?
Yeah. I mean, stage management is kind of one of those weird jobs that if I'm doing my job correctly, you have no idea that I'm there.
Right.
Like,
okay.
If I am getting these cues called correctly, or if I'm backstage and I'm getting this out on time, I'm getting this actor in their place when they need to be. This actor has been quick changed.
So you're active during the show too, like in the backstage or like...
It depends on the show.
Right, okay.
So I've definitely worked for theaters where I'm just calling the show. I am in a booth in the back of the theater. I'm behind the audience just hitting the go button and watching the show to make sure that everything goes right.
Right.
And I've worked shows where I am the person backstage who is doing the quick change.
Right.
Who is handing actors props.
Right.
I worked, oh shoot, what was that show called? The Drowsy Chaperone.
Oh.
So I did a musical called The Drowsy Chaperone in Tennessee.
Drowsy Chaperone.
It's fun. It's a cute little musical.
Okay.
But there's this number called Show Off. And it's a musical for people who love musicals. Okay. And so it's one of those silly songs.
What about people who like musicals but don't go out and see them like all the time, like me?
For that we've got Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, okay. Oh, I've seen Beauty and the Beast. I want something a little more out. Now I got it. No.
Well, then you can come see Scottsboro Boys.
Okay, I'll be right there. Yeah.
All right. That's my next show after Christmas Carol.
Right. Cool.
But, no, I was working on The Drowsy Chaperone, and there was a moment where backstage, it's about 3 minutes, where it was all but backstage was choreographed.
Okay.
Because I had to be in just the right spots. They call them legs, where the curtains lie on the sides of the stage.
That makes sense, yeah.
So I had to be at leg 3 to catch the hula hoop. and I set down the hula hoop, and I have to go to the props table to grab the pina colada. And I grab the pina colada and hand off the pina colada, and then grab the baton. I grab the baton, and I set the baton down as I hand off the painting. And then I catch the painting when it comes off the stage at like 2 kind of thing.
Right.
And all of this happens along with a quick change within a minute and a half.
Wow.
So it's a lot of fun. It
sounds fun. So it sounds like, I guess, like you're not so much the one like coming up with like the things that like the things rather than more like the solutions that so like someone's like, this is what I want to do, and like, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. So that's pretty neat. I guess which one's your favorite one you've ever worked on?
Oh gosh, that's terrible. I don't know. I've got a lot of favorite shows I've done. Okay. I did love the Drowsy Chaperone. That one was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then Superior Donuts was fun for me.
Superior Donuts?
Yeah. It's older.
In my opinion, as much as I have a guilty pleasure, it's a guilty pleasure for me. Krispy Kreme are the superior donuts.
How dare you?
Yeah,
what about Dunkin' Donuts?
Dunkin' Donuts is pretty good too. Yeah. I just like how much sugar is like splattered on top of those ones. I'm like, if I want a donut, I want a donut.
Fair.
That's like a donuts donut.
That is a man's donuts.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
Anyways, so.
Yeah, and then it helps me sometimes. I work on a show that gives me a little bit less creative way. So I try to have creative outlets here and there with other forms of creativity. Which,
ooh, like what?
How
else have you writ?
How else have I writ? So I do tour guiding. Right. Which doesn't seem that creative, but can be very creative.
Things you've told me about what you do, it's pretty cool. Like it's definitely pretty creative.
Yeah. And so it's definitely like you're coming up with your own script, you're coming up with your own jokes. Mm-hmm. I do work for a company that gives us some research and some information. Right. But inevitably, you get people on your tours who go, well, what about this thing? So then
you're like, oh.
And then I stare at them blankly until they leave my tour.
Nice. Didn't you say that one of the things that you give a tour of the Mint and you keep talking about how you're going to rob it?
So I just hit my head on the chair.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
You okay?
Yeah. So my speech at the U.S. Mint here in Denver is I talk about, while the U.S. Mint holds 1/4 of the U.S. gold supply. Well, that leads to the big question now, doesn't it? Has the U.S. Mint ever been robbed? Yes, it's been robbed 2.5 times. Right. The first time that I talk about Orville Harrington, the 1910s, and who he was, how he robbed the Mint. And then I go, the second time, and I talk about the gangsters that happened in the 20s. Right. What happened there, how they caught them, how they didn't catch them. Ooh. And I go, but I said 2.5 times. Well, what was the half? The half is right now. These tours are just a facade for me convincing you to rob the Mint. Right. And then that leads into, all right, well, here are the security measures that the Mint has.
And this is how we're going to break right through them, right?
Exactly. And then at the end I go, all right, so all that being said, who's with me?
And then no one raises their hand and like, that's okay, next door, right?
Exactly.
Does it actually have people raise their hands?
I've had a few people raise their hands. I've only had one tour where everyone raised their hands.
Oh, nice. What'd you do then?
I was like, this is great. I don't know what to do in this moment. You guys stole my Nicolas Cage joke.
Well, what's your Nicolas Cage joke?
When nobody raises their hand, I go, really? I guess it's just me and Nicolas Cage. Oh. We'll just continue the tour, I guess.
That sounds like something he'd do. Like, he does all this weird stuff. He could just be like, you know what? I'm gonna rob the Denver Mint today. Right?
Well, he has, in this beautiful historic cemetery that I'm looking forward to seeing when I go to New Orleans. In this beautiful historic cemetery, he built himself a pyramid. Okay. So that when he dies, he's got this pyramid.
Like the
to be
pharaohs of
buried in.
old.
Exactly. Just not quite the same size.
Nah, yeah.
But-
It's not a great pyramid like of Giza. It's just like a lesser pyramid.
Right, the lesser pyramid of the Nicholas.
Estate, right, yeah.
Yes.
Alright, yeah. He bought a dinosaur skull once, I think. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's not usually, like, that's kind of frowned upon in, like, the paleontological thing because, you know, you don't, like, it's science. You need them to study for. Like, you can take a cast of one, sure, but don't, like, take, like, the original.
Actually, speaking of dinosaur bones and tours,
Yes.
I no longer go there on this stop, but Coors Field here in Denver, when they were breaking ground,
Right.
found dinosaur bones.
Yes, a lot of people, my Facebook friends, like, they shared that to me. Like, did you hear about this? Did you hear about this? I'm like, yes, I did, but thank you.
I did. I know. I was there.
Yes, I was there leading the team.
Yes. They said dinosaurs, and I just immediately showed
Just
up.
started running in there. It's like, I write books about dinosaurs. How can I help?
Oh, excuse me.
That's okay. Do you mind if I leave that in? Because I think it's funny.
I'm so offended.
Oh,
I
no,
need
okay.
you to
Well, I
leave.
guess I don't have to. No. Yeah, this is real. This is raw. That's what I like about this.
None of this is going to be edited, right?
Oh, some of it's gonna be edited. Like I got I like the like that skit at the beginning. We did mess up a little, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's part of the art.
Actually, demand that you play all my parts backwards and in Latin.
Oh, okay. And in that case, that shows that hidden message that you have. That's actually
Exactly.
like
That's telling everybody to rob the Denver Mint.
right. And it's like one of those things that like it like triggers something in people's heads. It's like subconscious, like, oh my gosh, I must do it.
Must do it. That's my whole goal, really.
I guess if you could do that, you could just make a podcast and make people listen to it while they're asleep, and then go into their subconscious and be like, you will rob the Denver Mint with me at this time, at this date.
To be fair, I have a podcast that like I listen to every night to go to sleep.
Right.
Which, for all I know, because I go to sleep to it, he could be the entire time just saying things like, and now everybody will rise up and we will steal all of the world's supply.
And then you'll just do it, and then you'll be like, why did I do that? And I'm like, oh wait, oh my gosh, something in the back of my mind must have...
He must have implanted this in my head.
Yeah. Oh, Henry, look at you. You look like you've had a hard life, haven't you?
Oh, the poor thing has not been pet in almost 20 minutes.
Oh no, we have to change that. Oh no, Henry.
He looks so concerned.
He's like, guys, what's going on? He's actually been featured in several podcasts before. Usually ones with friends where they come record in here, and then people just have to say hi to the podcast dog, the unofficial dog of the podcast. Or maybe
Of course.
official, I guess. Who cares?
I was about to say unofficial, like he is clearly the mascot of this podcast.
Yep, he's on the logo. No, he's not actually. That's
I was like,
that's
is
an
he?
insult. That's an insult to my friend who's actually on the logo here. So,
Poor Matt.
let's see. So how are we doing on time? I think that's probably good. Unless there's anything else you wanted to add.
I can't currently think of anything. That...
Cool. So I guess well, thank you very much for coming in, Miss Owsley.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here. Mr. Donald Hall.
That's me. Yep. If you want to contact me, I guess, because I guess they could contact you this way, but it wouldn't be very reliable. You can contact me at Matt D.
I've never felt so seen and offended.
Okay. I guess they could be like, I have a question for Laura, and they'd send it to me, and I'd be like, okay, I'll tell Laura.
Sure.
Okay, if you want to do that, contact us at Matt D. That's with 2 T's at MatthewDonaldCreator.com for any general questions. You can use your own email system or the one that I provided my website, which is MatthewDonaldCreator.com. If you want to follow me personally, you can follow me at MatthewDonaldCreator on Facebook, at MatthewDon64 on Twitter, and MatthewDon64 on Instagram. Why 64?
Because it's the last 2 digits of my phone number.
Really? That's
Yeah.
the reason I picked it. Yeah,
Yes.
I knew this even years before I met you when I made my
Exactly.
Twitter account. Wow, that's a new reason.
I didn't know you were psychic, but...
Whoa, I'm only psychic with people's phone numbers.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
That's some girls I think I'm such a creep when they're like, "Do you want my number?" I'm like, "That's okay, I already know it." And they're like, I'm walking away."
Alright, well, now I'm sorry.
Yeah, I will definitely. No, I'll call you, and then just run away. Anyways, why 64? Because I was consistently picked 64th in grade school kickball. And our team only had like 10 people, so figure that one out. My childhood was freaking tragic, folks, but it's okay, I've grown up. I'm showing them.
Yeah, you've got a podcast now.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, if you want to, I'm just gonna plug myself.
Yes, please do. Yes, plug yourself.
Because why not?
Yes.
If you want to follow me on any form of social media, I'm at Thespian Laura, ThespianLaura, all over the social medias. If you think Thespian Laura sounds obnoxious and childish, I decided this when I was 18 that I would make every account of mine at Thespian Laura.
Just a little bit past Joker appreciation age, so I can understand you being a little obnoxious at the time.
Right, of course.
I'm a thespian.
Yes. The Thespian is very theater with an R-E versus an E-R.
Oh, that's how you know it's real theater.
Yes, exactly. Alright, well, thank you so much for having me on.
Of course, happy to have you. Let me know if you ever want to come back on again. So
absolutely.
Alright, well, see you guys next week. Well, I will anyway.
I will see you all in your nightmares.
Oh God. End it here! Ah!
The Writ